Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
And Bill, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm using the new iPad, so I'm not, this is the first time I use it for one of our meetings.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it just a little bit. Yep. Okay.
So there's Catherine in the woods.
Yes, I'm in the woods.
How's the weather?
Oh, it's been like 70, 72.
Oh, look, there's Jana.
Sorry.
Catherine, it's up to 95 today.
Oh, it was down to 95? Okay, because it's
Yep.
like been in the high 50s, low 60s overnight.
Unbelievable. Where are you?
I'm about 26 miles north of Two Harbors, Minnesota, which is north of
Nice.
Duluth.
Nice. Very nice.
It is. But it gets cool really fast, and you know the ice doesn't leave the lakes until the middle of May. When you're this far north. Yeah.
But it's the middle of August, so what difference does it make?
Right. Jana, do you have audio on? Because I don't hear you talking.
Yeah, can't hear you, Jana.
Did you see that?
Excuse me. Okay, so how many board members do we have?
So we've got Lewis, you, Jana,
Sort of.
and Chris. And I know that Art's intending to come because I got an email from him.
Okay.
And we have one caller. Could you identify yourself on the 512-300-8781 number?
Linda Bob.
Okay.
Oh, she's in two different lines.
So can we hear Jana yet? Oh, she's connecting to audio.
Can you hear us now, Jana? Hello?
I can.
All right.
Oh, yay.
So we have, Catherine, we have all the board members except for Art.
Okay.
And we have several residents, and we have Sage.
Okay. Well, okay. So Lewis, it's interesting. I don't see it's. I'm on a different phone because I don't have any service where I am on Sprint, so I'm on my husband's phone. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Lewis to preside over it for this meeting, and Jana, I'm going to ask that you do that on be the presiding officer on Wednesday, because I don't have access to see the agenda or the attachments just on a little phone. That's just too complicated. So Lewis, I'm going to just turn everything over to you, okay?
Okay, and the basis for my presiding, let me make sure I'm not muted. The basis for my presiding is that I am on the DRC committee, which is you and me.
Yes.
And normally when you're here, you preside, so I will preside today, in case anybody's wondering. Okay? So let's get the meeting started with the public comment section. Do we have any persons who would like to speak?
Luis, do you need Jimmy to be the timer?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I would like
has
to.
just joined us. Okay, anybody want to speak?
I'd like to
I
make
would
a
like-
public comment, and I would like to address agenda item 2.
Okay, just a second. Is that Sarah Teal?
It is
Okay, and Sarah, what agenda items do you want? Public comment and what?
an agenda item number 2, please.
Agenda number 2. And a public comment, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, who else?
I have
Me.
a public comment.
And who is that speaking?
My name is Tina Flores.
Okay, Tina, and you have a comment.
I have a public comment and I'd like to make a reference to agenda item 2 and 3.
Agenda 2 and 3 and a public comment. Okay. Anybody else?
Me, Linda Fobb,
Okay, Linda.
public comment, agenda item 3 and agenda item 13.
3 and 13 and public comment. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, let's get started, and I'll do them in the order that we spoke. So Sarah, do you want to begin with your public comment, and then you would follow into agenda item 2?
Yes. Madeline Lingle writes about a terrifying place in her book, A Wrinkle in Time, called Camazotz, and describes it as follows. Below them, the town was laid out in harsh, angular patterns. The houses on the outskirts were all exactly alike. Small square boxes painted gray. Each had a small rectangular plot of lawn in front with a straight line of dull-looking flower edging to the path door. Meg had a feeling that if she could count the flowers, there would be exactly the same number for each house. In front of all the houses, children were playing. Some were skipping rope, some were bouncing balls. Meg felt vaguely that something was wrong with their play. There was something different about it. All in rhythm, all identical, like the houses, like the paths, like the flowers. Then the doors of all the houses opened simultaneously, and out came women like a row of paper dolls. The print of their dresses were different, but they all gave the appearance of being the same. Each woman stood on the steps of her house, each clapped, each child turned and walked into the house. The doors clicked shut behind them. The houses, all identical, continued as far as the eye could reach. Then all at once they saw the same thing and stopped to watch. In front of one of the houses stood a little boy with a ball, and he was bouncing it, but he bounced it rather badly and with no particular rhythm. The door of his house opened and out ran one of the mother figures. She looked wildly up and down the street, saw the children, and put her hand to her mouth as though to stifle a scream, grabbed the little boy and rushed indoors with him. The ball dropped from his fingers and rolled out into the street. The mother figure opened the door. All up and down the street, other doors opened, but only a crack, and eyes peered towards the 3 children and the woman looking fearfully out the door at them. "What do you want?" she asked. "I've given my decency donations regularly. All my papers are in order." "I think your little boy dropped his ball," Charles Wallace said, holding it out. The woman pushed the ball away. "Oh no, the children in our sections never drop their balls. They're all perfectly trained. We haven't had an aberration for 3 years." All up and down the block, heads nodded in agreement. Agenda item 2. As soon as I saw the recent post on Friends of Anderson Mill West and the Anderson Mill West neighborhood group of a neighbor villainizing David Flores for talking to her child, and all of the other neighbors jumping straight on the bandwagon with no actual knowledge of him, made me immediately think of Madeline Lingle's Camazotz. I don't want to live in Camazotz, where every person plasters a fake smile on their face and makes sure that their lawns are trimmed to 1.325 inches, where each person stays meticulously contained to their own tiny private space and never dares to go against the grain and have their own voice. I personally want to talk to my neighbors. I want my neighbors to talk to my kids. I want my kids to ride their bikes around my neighborhood and have my community keep an eye out for them. David Flores is one of those eyes to my family. No matter how flustered this reporting neighbor pretends to be about David stopping to talk to her child, which I personally believe to be blatantly conjured for campaign purposes, if her kid isn't old enough to have a friendly adult neighbor approach and speak to him, what on earth is this kid doing living a community life in a public space without her supervision? David Flores has always been appropriate with my boys, who are 9 and 11. Not only is he appropriate, he talks to them like they are real humans. He respects their opinions, asks them questions, gives them advice, and looks out for their safety. I can say with zero hesitation that if they were away from home and were in trouble, that David Flores would be the first person to jump in to help make sure that they were okay. If the new thing we're gonna say as neighbors is don't talk to me and don't dare talk to my kids, then I choose no. Gross. I don't want to live in a neighborhood like that.
Okay. Jimmy, next we're going to Tina Flores. You want to say when to start?
Start.
And tonight's handout is a comment from the deed enforcement contractor regarding allegations of inappropriate interactions with neighborhood children. I believe this is an attempt to slander my husband, David Flores, who is a candidate in the upcoming election for MUD Board Director. Stage management is slandering his good name and attacking not only him, but me and my children. I'd like to point out recent social media posts on the Friends of Anderson Mill West Facebook page, created and administered by Megan Dudo, and the Residents of Anderson Mill West Facebook page, ran by Beth Jones, Louis Servignon, and Catherine Frankie. I'd also like to point out a post submitted by Heather Delanoy on the Nextdoor app, which has since been removed. Posts that were created by supporters of Megan Dudo attacking and accusing my husband of talking to children. This is purely a smear campaign. The Facebook page for Friends of Anderson Mill West states clearly, on this page, we welcome open community dialogue and sharing of ideas. However, the goal is to be constructive and solution-oriented. Please note we have a zero tolerance policy for comments or posts that involve any of the following: name-calling or insults, accusations, finger-pointing and placing of blame outside objective discussions about what parties need to be involved in bringing about change, misinformation and opinions being touted as fact. Well, Megan Dudo, I call you a hypocrite, a liar, and an evil soul for allowing this post on a page controlled by a candidate seeking a position as an elected official. I have captured the post, and the most telling is all comments that defended David were immediately deleted so that the implication of him being inappropriate with children could remain. As of last week, the post still remained on the page even after I sent Megan Dudo a private message asking her to kindly remove the post. She did not remove the post, and she did not reply to my message. It appears that she orchestrated the whole thing. Agenda item number 2, with regard to the online postings on groups administered by current board members and Megan Dudo. The consequences of these accusations have on my family are immense and terrifying. I'd like to make you all aware that I have 2 children, ages 15 and 11. They are not little, and they are very much aware of the lies being spread about their father. If you are so concerned with inappropriate interaction with neighborhood children, then that includes my children and your inappropriate behavior towards my husband. My children matter. They are part of this neighborhood and attend local schools. Lies like this will take a toll on them, physically, emotionally, and mentally. When peer pressure and bullying rule the day, we watch adults engaging in the same behavior. What happens at home are what children will mimic. Hate is taught at home. We are not born with it. I'd like to conclude that your posts have backfired. I have spoken personally with the officer you all made false claims to. Your attempt to defame in this manner is sickening. And if any one of you have any sort of compassion that you claim to have, you will understand where I am coming from as a wife and a mother and will stop this behavior. So shame on all of you: Megan Dudo, Louis Servignon, Janet Norton Ramirez, Catherine Frankie, Beth Jones, Heather Delanoy, Natalie Borderline, Jimmy and Diana Sagnas. May God have mercy on all your souls.
Okay. Is that the extent of your comments? That was 2 and 3?
That was 2 and 3.
Okay. The next person up is Linda Fobb. And Jimmy, you want to say when it's time to go?
Start.
It has been an interesting month in the district, with campaigning in full swing and folks getting fired up on the issues. In an attempt to distract the community from what is important to their future, you launched an assault against a candidate for a MUD board position that is well loved in this community, David Flores. Louis Zerbagon, Beth Jones, and Megan Dudo used their platform to make false accusations and allow or encourage ad hominem attacks against their supporters, against David, in an attempt to disparage him. Even Jenna joined in and offered to call the police for anyone that wasn't comfortable doing so. You are all apparently prepared to destroy a man's life and his family based on gossip and hearsay. David is an upstanding resident that has gone out of his way to help his neighbors, and he has demonstrated his commitment to the people that live here. Shame on every one of you. We can all debate the merits of our platforms and positions on issues, but when lies and hyperbole fueled by anonymity of the internet or the power of your public position lead to these negligent and damaging acts, we all lose, and so does democracy.
And that was your public comment. Now you want to do
That
agenda item 3?
Yes, please.
Start.
The report prepared by Sage Management shows that overnight parking violations are not being treated equitably. This same violation is reported 39 times, but only one resident is receiving certified letters with fines. Could this one resident in Section 17 be the family that you have a lawsuit against for street parking violation? Please explain to your constituents why you continue to harass this family for a violation you are allowing 38 other families to enjoy without a citation. While you're at it, explain why you have not publicized the pandemic protocol that allows for street parking, unless, apparently, if you live across the street from Megan Dudo. I have asked to review these records every month to protect my neighbors from your unjust and clearly inequitable practices. You continue to delay the release of these public records. To top this item off, once again, missing from this list of violations are the fire pits and chickens on Hannah K. Again, please explain to your constituents why that is.
Is that it?
That's
Is that
the end of 3. We're moving on to 13. Yes.
Okay, Jimmy, you want to say go?
Start.
I would like to see the latest version of the contract between this MUD district and Sage Management. This document should be published for the public to see so that they will understand the role of a deed enforcement contractor has now increased to include new duties they have either been asked to do or have taken it upon themselves under the veil of your authority to execute. For instance, monitoring the waste management contract, which Infomark is already being paid to do. Taking criminal complaints from individuals who aren't comfortable calling the police. Spreading misinformation about residents and promising favors. And don't forget, interfering in the upcoming election. Catherine, it has been 9 months since I notified this board of the dishonesty of your contractor. Your unwillingness to address the problem solidifies your complicity in their behavior.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, let's go then to item 2 on the agenda. And if no one has anything to say, I want to make a statement. Does anyone have anything to say on the board?
No. No.
Okay, I'd like to make a statement. And I want to first start off by saying that I can very much appreciate Tina Flores' concern about the well-being of her children and the complaints about David affecting her. But I do want to point out that there is a history here, and much of this history started way before the campaign. It goes all the way back to early November when David came to my house on a weekend and acted in a very threatening way, and I called the sheriff because I felt threatened. The sheriff went to David's house and issued a criminal no trespass warning to him. Subsequently, we have on video David throwing curse words at me at a board meeting, and he had done that many times, but we caught it on video. So he was ejected from the meeting by the deputy constable, and not only was he ejected, he was charged in JP court with a misdemeanor for his criminal behavior. That trial has yet to come up. That constable wasn't working on anybody's campaign, and the video clearly shows the behavior of David. Subsequent to that, David seems to be fixated on me. Subsequent to that, I'm walking my dog in Sunchase Park, and David shows up and starts harassing me. And at the end of the experience, I am trying to get out of the park to get away from him, and he is throwing rocks at me. Now, this is childish behavior, but some of these rocks were large, and some of them landed within a few feet of me. Because I had my dog, I couldn't hold my dog and videotape him. So the sheriff took my complaint, but absent a video, they really couldn't act. But that in itself was yet another example of David behaving badly. Now, the fact is that these parents who are concerned about David's behavior with their children, Does anyone think that they are doing that as part of a campaign? Of course not. They're doing that because they're concerned about their children. And David's personality is such that he, intentionally or not, he communicates a threatening, aggressive behavior. And Tina, I'm very sorry that you have to endure this, but the fact is that these people are not using their children for this campaign. They're protecting their children from what they perceive to be threatening behavior by your husband. And I had personally experienced that threatening behavior. And that has nothing to do with the campaign. It has to do with my safety and well-being. That's the end of my comment on the item 2. I'm sorry, let me add one more thing. I want to point out to the neighborhood and to the neighbors watching this, that one of the things that this board really likes about the way the Sagnesses enforce deed restrictions is that we come from a long history. If those of you who've lived in this community for very long know that we come from a long history where deed restriction violations were dealt with by letters that went out to people, and first friendly and then fining people. What the Jimmy and Diana brought to the table, and we're very excited about it, they brought a different way of managing things. Because at the end of the day, we're not interested in collecting money from fines. We're interested in solving problems. So what Jimmy Sagnes does is talk to people. And many of the violations are cleared up simply by talking to people. And 2 things happen as a result. Number 1, people feel more comfortable interacting with the deed restriction process. And number 2, people develop a great deal of confidence and appreciation for the way the Sagnesses operate. We hear that all the time. You would think from the things that Linda is saying that the community is all upset about the way they manage deed restriction enforcement. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. The community, many people in the community, constantly tell us how pleased they are that the Sagnesses are doing this kind of thing. What's going on here is that Linda Favre is upset because she has had, way before this election, an obsession of dislike for Megan Dudo. And so this dislike has translated into these accusations. So that's the end of my comment. And Carol, I'm not doing this under public comments. I'm doing this under an agenda item, and the limit of 2 minutes has to do with public comments, not with agenda items.
So I can defend myself now, Louis, right?
No.
No.
The public comment section of the meeting is over.
Okay, let's move on then to item number 3, management report from Sage Management Services.
Thank you. Before we start with the management report, I wanted to give you all an update. At the last meeting, we were awaiting some information from the Attorney General. And as you all know, 24 months ago, this month, Sage was invited by Herb Edmondson to submit a bid for the deed enforcement contract at WTCMUD1. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, yet we're proud that we've been able to bring about a positive change and establish a good rapport with several residents. We're very aware that when it comes to deed enforcement, you cannot please everyone. In recent months, Sage, as well as the other contractors for the district, have endured a hostile work environment created by Linda Fabre. Sage was compelled to acquire legal representation and address conjecture, assumptions, and falsehood put forth by Ms. Fabre. Contrary to Ms. Fabre's opinion, the Attorney General has reinforced the fact that Sage is not a governmental agency. Sage is a contractor that provides services to the district. Sage answers to the board of WTCMUD1, and Sage is not beholden to Linda Fabre. Our legal representation is moving forward with the restructuring of the Sage contract with WTCMUD1, and we want to reassure the board that Sage is moving forward with its commitment of working with the board to build community. Again, we're aware that we cannot please everyone, but we're happy to share that the feedback we receive is more positive than negative. Before moving on to the management report, though, we just want to say that Sage is refusing to give rebuttal to the false narrative. The false narrative is actually a statement about who she is as a human being, and we choose not to take it personally because it's not about us. We just want to keep moving forward, working with the district and building community. Okay, so that was your all's information from the Attorney General paperwork. It should have been sent to the district and to Bill.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
The response from the Attorney General, Bill, do we have that?
Yeah, I believe I have a copy.
Okay, and I want to point out that Sage Management had to hire an attorney, and the attorney had to prepare the paperwork to go to the Attorney General to contest the allegation that they were subject to open records. So in addition to the vast amounts of money that the MUD has had to spend dealing with Linda Fobb's open records request, now we have our contractors having to spend money to have lawyers to deal with open records requests to them that the Attorney General agrees are not proper and are not valid. So there's another expense. Anyway, go ahead, Diana.
All right, let me go ahead and get started with our summary of violations. On the trash cans in view, we had 14. We are still on pandemic protocol. The board has not discussed when we're going to change back to the regular enforcement. We are awaiting this discussion and directive from the board on that. We did have 34 full trash cans, and we reported that to Infomart. We're working with them in real time as we go through and we pick up, we see that stuff has been missed. We are reporting it to Infomart, and they're in contact with Waste Management. We had 37 full recycle cans that were missed, and we photo documented those. And we had 8 missed bulk pickups. Some of them were because it wasn't their week. Some of them was, it happened that they weren't bundled correctly. But I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that we did get pictures of all that. Open storage, we sent out 7 friendlies. We did send.
You froze up. I think the Sagans just froze up. Jimmy and Diana, if you can hear us, you froze up.
Any questions on that?
There we go. You're back. We didn't hear much of what you said for the last couple of minutes. You were frozen.
I was frozen. Oh, okay. What was the last part you all heard?
You were talking about the.
We heard about the trash.
And then
Okay.
then you mentioned
Open
open storage, and
Yes.
you started open storage. So go back to that.
Okay, at open storage, we sent out 7 friendlies, and we only sent out 1 certified. This one that was certified was already in the protocol before the pandemic, and so they were already at fine stage, and they've already been escalated to legal. And our directives were that if they were already in the system at fine status, we continue sending them. Jimmy did run into the owner, and we had a conversation, and that information was already forwarded to Bill's office. Unregistered vehicles, we had 5 friendlies. We're still dealing with 2 of them from way back in February. Once the pandemic started, people have not been able to get down to the county offices to get their registration. The board has already waived the fines for 1, and then the other one is on appeal due to COVID delay, and 2 of them were already in legal. So we also had 1 in Valente Hills, but because the way their HOA restrictions are written, we are working with Sabrina, and she is sending them a letter, and hopefully we can get it cleared that way. Trailers. We had 11 trailers at the beginning of the month. A lot of them cleared by the second tour. One of those trailers was already in the legal process, and 2 boats were cleared. One of the trailers was cleared. We had an RV, a huge RV, and that one was also cleared by the second tour.
Diana, what neighborhoods were these in?
All over. I can go ahead and look. Do you want me to look it up on your report?
Well, what I'm wondering is, it wasn't just Anderson Mill West. It was also Hunters Glen, Lakeline Oaks, and Valenti
Yes,
for the trails.
it's spread out.
Okay,
Not Lakeline Oaks. Not Lakeline Oaks.
Not Lake. We don't do Lakeline Oaks, but it did include
But it was spread
Valenti
out.
and Hunters Glen. And the reason I'm asking that is that we have some findings that the ACC has made relative to Anderson Mill West, that people can load up, and while they're loading up, including overnight, that they're not in violation. And I
Yes.
don't know what's done in Valenti. Is there something similar in Valenti that gives some leeway in Hunters Glen, or do you know?
Yes, there is.
Yes. They have
Okay,
some time. Valente Hills, it wasn't in July, but it came in maybe at the end of July, early August. They're dealing with an RV bus. But again, we're working with Sabrina together to see if we can get that one addressed and moved.
Thank you.
Okay. We've had 5 pods, 3 dumpsters. There's a lot of make-ready properties in the district and a lot of people moving. So
A lot of remodels.
a lot of remodels. We sent out several courtesy letters. 2 of them actually did clear in July. We had 10 yards. Most of the yards, with the exceptions of the ones where the hedging and the bushes and the trees are into the street, blocking the flow of traffic. Most of the yards that we sent friendlies to people, their neighbors reported them. So those were follow-ups for us, and we just confirmed and sent friendlies.
Diana, what we've been able to do, apart from what you're doing, we've been able to determine from Roads and Bridges in Williamson County that they will accept responsibility to clear trees that block traffic, but
Yes.
not bushes. With respect to bushes, our long-term objective is to see whether we can change the license agreement that permits Sunscape to maintain the public spaces, including, for example, between the sidewalk and the masonry walls. And that's principally where they get close to homes. If we can get that a similar license agreement throughout the district, then we could have the clearance of those brushes and bushes that block the sidewalks by Sunscape through some procedure that we would set up. But until we have that, the Roads and Bridges Williamson County has made it clear they will not be responsible for that. And I'm assuming Travis will do the same. So it comes down to you working with the people that live in those houses to try to get them to cooperate.
And along that line, we did have 2 people call us back. One of them said that he had been in the hospital for 4 weeks and just had not been able to get to the yard. We offered assistance to go and cut his yard. He said that he was going to try and get someone that he has worked with in the past. If he didn't get it done, he would reach out to us. But we had another tour since then, and
Oh, froze up again. Okay, so we're waiting for Jimmy and Diana to unfreeze and come back.
poultry complaint.
There we go.
At the
Diana,
last meeting,
Diana, you froze up for about a minute and a
again,
half.
okay.
So you were talking about yards. You were finishing up
sir.
yards.
One of the gentlemen called us back. He had been in the hospital. We offered assistance to cut the yard, and he said that he did not need it. He would call us if he couldn't find the regular person that he worked with. So I think it's been taken care of, because at the next tour, the yard looked great. So luckily he was able to get to it before it got to be 106 outside. Let me see. Let me go ahead and talk to y'all about the poultry complaint. It is on the summary. The reason I didn't put it down on the regular report is the owner of the chickens called in at the last meeting, showed up, had a conversation with the board. It was addressed at the board meeting. The committee members are going to be meeting with him, and we're going to keep working with him to try and resolve that issue. So
It's not.
it's, yeah, it's been addressed. I don't know why it said that it wasn't, but it's
Diana, are they the same people that have the pig?
No.
that's a different one. And I was going to go ahead and talk to y'all about that next. The owner of the pig is not living in the residence right now. The sheriff has made a well check. They were not able to go into the backyard to verify the complaints that some of the neighbors have had regarding the pig and the environmental hazards. We have 2 calls into animal control to see, and to the health department to try and get that addressed. So far, I have not gotten a call back on the pig, but we did get a well check, and the owner of the house is
Froze up again.
He's in jail.
Yeah, I think that's what she was going to tell us, that he's in jail and another relative has come over.
It's
And-
not just one person complaining about the odor in their backyard. It's several people in the neighborhood.
I'm sorry, what, Jenna?
Oh, I'm sorry, you froze up again. So I just started.
Okay.
Jana, why don't you repeat what you just said?
Okay, so Diana, you froze right at the owner, or the person of the pig that owns the pig is,
Yes.
and I said he's in jail. So, and,
Oh.
and then I also said that it's not just one neighbor that has reported them; it's a few. So,
I have a report from one neighbor. I'm not sure if we've had any more, but I have a report from one neighbor at this point that wants to go on the record.
So
on that.
Diana, as I understood it, the people that went, the officials, law enforcement that went over there to do a well check, they were not admitted into the house or into the yard. So
No.
they didn't see the pig. And
No.
you tried to get animal control because they can do that. But last time we talked, you had not succeeded in getting through to animal control. Is that still the case?
That is still the case. I was told they need.
Oh, froze again. So while we're waiting for her, the thought occurred to me that if we could put wings on the pig, maybe we could combine that case with the case of the chickens.
What's going on with that? They may have been.
sorry, we're laughing because Lewis made a little bit of a joke. You froze up again.
Oh God, this thing is driving me nuts.
I had asked you to confirm that animal control had still not gotten with you about the pig, and that's when you froze up. And
No, they have not called me back. I've had 3 calls into Williamson County Animal Control, and I have not had a call back.
You handle several other MUDs. Are you having similar problems with animal control in other areas that you work, or is it something you don't know about? Because you may not have these kinds of situations in other neighborhoods that you work in. That is, what I mean is you may not have a need for animal control.
Yeah, no, I've moved on to the next one on the reports and complaints. We've also had a lady, and that I have a call back to see if she wants to go ahead and file a formal complaint, but she claims that she has been stalked by David Flores for 2 months, and she's afraid to report it formally because she's afraid of retaliation. So I have called her back, and we'll see if she wants to go ahead and what she wants to do. She wants her realty signs back. She said that she thinks they stole them.
She thinks what?
She reported that she thinks David stole them. That is the report. So,
So at this point, she's reported to you, and she's unwilling to report formally to the any law enforcement. Okay.
retaliation.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I mean, all I do is take the message and write it down and give it to you guys.
Okay. What are we on now? Number 12 or number 13?
We are on overnight parking violations. The numbers, Hunters Glen has seen an increase. Hunters Glen 2, I should say, has seen an increase. Hunters Glen 1 has stayed stable. The rest of the sections have been between 3 to 4. Maybe section 17 had a 6. We had a certified letter. Again, this one was already in legal, and according to the pandemic protocol that the board approved, if it was already in legal, they continued at fine status.
So under the pandemic protocol, they continue in fine status. Does that mean that does that mean that the fine is showing up on the bill?
No.
It's
No.
not showing up on the bill.
No,
So,
they're not
so
getting, yeah.
So let's
I'm
make it clear. Let's make it clear because there've been some allegations to the contrary. They remain in fine stage, but the fine does not appear on the bill while we're in the pandemic lockdown. Correct?
Correct.
Well, maybe Ms. Fabre is listening to that so she can straighten out her story. So go ahead.
So, and then we did have an email today, which I forwarded to the committee. We're starting to get questions as to when will the pandemic protocol be over. There are certain streets that we're having a lot of issues with cars, and neighbors are starting to have conflict regarding that amongst themselves over the cars parked in the street. College kids are getting ready to go back to school. Not sure if it's going to affect this district, you know, and alleviate some of that. But we did experience a couple of emails and a phone call regarding how long is the pandemic protocol going to go.
Diana, are the questions coming from a specific neighborhood in the district?
We had one today. Where's Dayflower? 17?
It was 15.
Section 15. And then we've had one from Hunters Glen. And then the other one, I need to look it up. It was Valente. No, not Valente. Madeline.
Oh, that's in Hunters Glen 1.
Hunters Glen 1.
One of the things we need to start thinking about is that at the rate we're going, we might still be in this kind of situation with lockdown when we get into the holiday season. And that's when we have a lot of kids coming in and families coming in to visit. And we normally do a moratorium on enforcement from right after Thanksgiving. Is that correct, Catherine? From right after Thanksgiving through January, yes. First week of January.
Yes.
And so what I think we might want to think about is, given the situation, it might be a good idea to start thinking about that moratorium. And do we perhaps want to start it earlier? And I'd like to see what the other board members think about that.
Well, I'm also interested in knowing what other districts are doing in terms of are other districts moving back into normal enforcement, or because I have no problem imagining that we are going to be in a quote unquote pandemic protocol through the second quarter of 2021.
Yeah.
Diana,
can you shed some?
That we have working with, WTCMUD1 is the only one that has a pandemic protocol. Every other MUD and HOA has proceeded business as usual through the whole pandemic.
Really?
Including fines on violations? Oh, she froze up again.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
maybe
think
we
we,
are the best guys.
so I think we need to get some more feedback from Infomark in terms of what's going on with
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 their
their other.
customers.
Yes.
Yes. And the chances
I
are that
agree.
Diana and Jimmy are going to know about MUD enforcement of deed restrictions with some of their other customers. Infomark is going to have a bunch of MUD customers that don't do deed restriction enforcement. So that's going to, those particular customers of theirs would be of limited use to us, except that in some of those areas, the HOAs, in most of those areas where they don't do deed restriction enforcement, the HOAs do. So they might have a feel, Infomark might have a feel for what the HOAs are doing, whether they're continuing as usual or are they in some kind of pandemic protocol. And Diana, I was surprised when you said that we're the only ones. And when you say the others are continuing as usual, that means the others are continuing to fine people and so on?
The HOAs that have a fine system, yes. Everybody that we work with is a different setup. So not every MUD has a fine system. But whatever system that they do have in place, whether they're reactive, proactive, it has continued business as usual. And I think at the beginning of it, I got a notice from the legal department from Goodwin, and I forwarded that to, I think, Bill, letting him know that other management companies were proceeding business as usual regarding deed enforcement.
Bill, can you reflect on that a little bit? You have other customers.
Well, we have HOAs in general have proceeded as business as usual. That's correct. And that was the Goodwin approach that they manage the HOAs. We don't have any other MUDs right now that are active in deed restriction enforcement. So they haven't had to consider that. Of course, on the disconnection side, all the districts we work with still have a moratorium on disconnects. So yours kind of weave together. If you have fines that go on the bills, and if they don't pay that, you're still under a disconnect moratorium. So I don't really have anything to add to what
Okay.
Diana said.
Okay, Diana, what else we got?
I think that's.
Froze up again. It's that pig under attack.
Work out and be the referee regarding, I mean, there was a trespassing by lawnmower issue that we had to take care of, and that's been handled. We have followed up on harassment reports. Well check calls have been made. We have reported the possession of firearms to the sheriff. The livestock issue, the owner's currently in lockup. There's 2 separate reports of the pet pig residing in the backyard. And we have, and of course, the follow-up on the poultry. We do have pictures. We're working it out with the residents towards resolution. And then I have been sending all of the oversight reports to the committee, the Waste Management Services Committee, as well as the DRC and Infomark. And we'll just continue to report it and work it with Infomark until you all tell us otherwise. And I've already talked to you all about the reports of trespassing and the reports of theft. So we're just gonna hand that over to the committee, and you all can decide what action you want to take on that.
Diana, I think that this lawnmower trespassing incident really does illustrate how you operate and how effective you can be. And perhaps you can talk a little bit about it. As I understand it, Jimmy actually had to get involved with a spray can of paint to mark the grass because one neighbor was fighting with another about the lawnmower going into his area. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
By the time I had gotten there, the neighbors had, in essence, drawn a line in the turf. I did have a conversation. One neighbor just didn't want his side of the line touched. The other one was trying to be a good sport, good Samaritan. It came down to what, not just this district, all of the districts, people in lockdown are very sensitive right now. So just listening a lot, not even talking a lot, just trying to make folks understand, do what's asked of you, even though you're doing the right thing, be careful because other people don't take it that way. And that's what's going on in all of the districts, not just WTC. It's good that we're out there, but at the same time, there are times when everyone's, in essence, I am a referee just saying, take a deep breath. We're not out here to say anything good, bad, or indifferent. Just try to understand from a different person's perspective.
And how can we make you all live in the same space without, hurting each other?
Are you finished with your report, Diana? I think she froze up again. Because the next item on the agenda, we need Jimmy and Diana also, because it has to do with
the family with COVID death, and they just moved here.
Diana, we're waiting for you.
You're freezing up, Diana.
And I would
We
move
need
on.
it. And
You're freezing up again.
Diana, you've been freezing up about every minute. You freeze up for about a minute. So we've missed much of what you had to say.
okay.
And my question was, are you finished with your report? Are you?
I was just following up with the last the last report of the example of where we went out and helped another family. That's all. But
Okay.
it was just a family new to the neighborhood. They had a COVID death. They had a car accident, and their neighbors were reporting them for parking a car in the street, even though there was 6 other cars in the street. It's like they were getting targeted for having their car in the street. So we helped them set them up with a mobile mechanic. They went out there, they got the car started, moved, and that they're gonna be able to get the car registered.
Good.
Okay, Diana.
Good work, Diana.
I'm sorry. Did you say something, Art?
I just said good work.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're looking for. I'm alluding to what you said earlier. They
Yeah.
solve the issues. And that's what we want.
And
Yeah.
solving the issue by talking to people. And
Yeah.
historically, we've never had that from deed restriction enforcement contractors. All we've had is people that never leave their car and just write letters. So the next item on the agenda is the pending appeals. Diana and Jimmy, do we have any appeals?
Nope, there haven't been any fines, so we don't have any appeals.
Okay. And sometimes we get appeals when people get cited and they think they should have been cited. And so sometimes we see it even without a fine. That's why I asked. So item 5 then is report from the DRC and act on restrictive covenant enforcement. I don't think we have anything for that, do we, Bill?
Not that I'm aware. No.
Okay. Then the next is number 6, bulk trash day violations. And Diana, you talked a bit about that, how you're working with the ad hoc committee that was created. And do you have anything else to say?
No, we are reporting them in real time. If they're not picked up, Lee has been gracious enough to call Waste Management, and most of them are getting cleared up the next day.
So the new system is working?
I think so. I mean, I'll have to check. I'll have to check with, on our end it's working because we're getting the pictures, we're sending it. The communication part is working. We're not going back out the next day to double check to see if those things have been fixed. So I don't know how it's working on that end.
So the reason I raised the question is if the new system is working, you would be seeing fewer violations in the street. And I think you said you are. Is that correct? We've lost your sound, Jimmy and Diana. We lost your sound.
We have no sound from you.
Months.
Rewind.
Okay, can you say something, Diana? See if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can move on then. The item number 7 is presentations by Andersonville West Neighborhood Association, our Hunters Glen Homeowners Association, our Lakeline Oaks Homeowners Association, and Valente Hills and Park Forest Homeowners Association. I don't think we have anyone here from any of those entities to speak. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct, yes.
Okay. Then number 8, we have report by ACCs, and to my knowledge, we don't have anyone here from any of those neighborhood associations or HOAs as ACCs. So moving on to item 9, do we have the possibility of requests from the same associations and HOAs relative to deed restriction enforcement? And I don't think we have anything there. Finally, we have, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then we have approval of minutes from prior DRC meetings. And how are we handling that, Bill?
Well, they're in your packet. They were attached to the invite.
Okay.
So we need a motion to approve.
Okay. I so move. Can I get a
I'll
second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris. All right. So we have a motion and a second to approve the prior DRC meeting minutes. I will ask if anyone is opposed, instead of asking who's in favor. Is anybody opposed? Hearing none, the measure passes. Number 11, coordination of reporting between Sage Management Service and Infomark on fines. I don't think Infomark is here with us today. So Diana, maybe you can tell us whether that's working, because we're not collecting fines, so that coordination is very limited now. It's simply a matter of getting the information to them, right?
Yes, sir. We still communicate on a weekly basis regarding phone calls from residents. Some of them are still, because of the pandemic, and they only do online billing, are
Okay, I think we've really finished that one. While we're waiting for her to come back, let's move on to number 12, the lawsuit of 2202 London Lane and 2700 Tierra Blanco. Do we have anything to report on that, Bill?
Nothing significant. We're still working with the attorney on the first lawsuit in an attempt to negotiate a settlement. And there's been some progress, but not enough to bring it to the board yet. And on the second one, the owner has not filed an answer, so we'll proceed with a default judgment. And we'll have to see if we can do it by a Zoom hearing with the court, but we're proceeding along those lines. That's pretty much all we have.
So have you filed yet for with the court, or we're waiting?
We haven't not filed yet. We're working on the filing.
Okay. Anything else, Bill?
No.
Okay, then let's go to number 13, restrictive covenant management agreement between district and Sage. I think we covered that earlier. Diana had told us that she's working on it with Matt and Bill's office and the Sage attorney. Bill, do you want to add anything to that?
I think the DRC itself was going to get involved too last time.
That's correct. Yeah, we were going to get involved, and that has to wait until Catherine gets back at the end of this month, but we will get involved. Do you have anything to say about that, Catherine?
No, but we met earlier before I left to discuss this issue. Has any of that, gone back and forth between the two sets of attorneys?
My impression is that there hasn't been any resolution among the parties relative to the different points of view.
Okay.
And I think it's still sitting there with the two parties waiting each for the other to move. Is that a reasonable description?
According to this, we don't even have it launched in here.
the two attorneys are not talking to each other? Because I thought that, Louis, that when you and I and talked with the sages, that we really had a good framework in terms of where we were going to go.
And so,
That has not been reported. Whatever that framework is, not been reported back to our office yet. So we're waiting.
Okay.
We're waiting for that.
that's really
Okay.
that's really our fault, Catherine, because we should have gotten back with Bill's office relative to those conversations, and we weren't able to do
Okay.
that before you left.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to 14. District rules governing violations of deed restrictions and the procedures and tasks associated with enforcement of those rules. I don't think we have anything there unless someone knows something I don't know. Number 15, funding for an interaction with the associations and homeowners associations. And we don't have anything there. There's no request from any HOA or association for funding.
Correct.
All right, and then number 16, answers to prior questions from residents regarding district matters. I don't think we have anything there unless, Diana, you know of something that's pending. And I'm not sure that Jimmy can hear us.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, what was the question?
So it's item 16 on the agenda, answers to prior questions from residents regarding district matters. And we're not aware of any that are hanging out there. And so I asked the question, since you guys are talking to a lot of people in the community, are you aware of any questions that we ought to address from your conversations with people?
The only thing that people have asked us about is the pandemic protocol.
And when it'll end?
When it'll end, and if there's anything posted on the website regarding it.
Okay. And I don't know that we can post anything because it's a total unknown right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Unless there's something else, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion. We have a motion. We have a second. I'm going to ask if anyone is opposed, and if they say they are opposed, I'm not going to hear it. So let's call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, folks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.
I'm going to leave now.